welcome back. Thanks for tuning in this week. I wanted to talk about excuses and laziness. Are you aware of when you make excuses, and are you aware of when you're just being lazy? Because I've had a few things happen these past few weeks. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold. And one of the things that struck me was I make a lot of excuses not to do things I don't like or things that I'm afraid of, or I have a lot of excuses and I don't like that. And I've also know that if I don't want to do something, I am very lazy about it. And I think that comes from being single and not having kids. I don't have anyone to take care of but myself. So some days if I just don't feel like doing anything, I just don't do anything. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think it just encourages laziness, and I find that to be a little disturbing. And I'll tell you what happened the other day is every Tuesday and Thursday I go walking with a friend. And on Tuesday morning, we were supposed to go on this really, really long walk at these beautiful gardens. And she called and she said, I can't do the long walk, but do you want to still do the short walk? And I was like, oh, no worries. See you Thursday. And she's like, oh, no, we can still walk at 9. It just has to be a shorter one. And I was like, okay. You know, it's like 8:36 and I'm still in bed. I'm still asleep. And so I was like, okay, you know, I made a commitment. I'm going to do it. So I get up and I go. And of course I had a great time and I enjoyed it immensely. But the thing is, I'm so lazy sometimes, and I don't know what that is. I don't know where that comes from, because I do enjoy going on the walks, but I think I just have a hard time of being in the moment, you know, like, oh, I'd love to sleep in and just get up whenever I feel like it, you know, and I got to get myself out of that phase. So I'm trying to be more aware of when I'm just being lazy or when I'm making a lot of excuses. I think I hinted to you back that something happened at work with a little boy, and it was very heartbreaking for me. Well, before I left, I wanted to give that little boy a hug. It just felt like, you know, my heart bled for him, and I just really wanted to, you know, give him a hug and give him a smile and tell him everything is going to work out in the end, you know. And so I was talking to my coworker, and I was making all these excuses. I was telling him, you know, I really want to give him a hug before I leave, but this and this and this, and I don't want, the grandmother was kind of aloof, and I don't want her I don't want to be in an awkward situation, and I was just going on and on and on with that I wanted to give him a hug, but I had a million excuses why not to do it. And secretly, one of the real excuses is because I get very emotional in moments like that. Well, since I've been taking the Lexapro, I really haven't had any issues with crying unexpectedly. So, as a matter of fact, I was watching some sad stuff last night. Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. And some of those stories are really, really touching, and I was not crying at all. And that's very, very rare because I always cry. So the Lexapro has really taken that edge away. But I'd kind of forgotten, or at least at that moment, I hadn't realized that I was going to be okay. I was going to get the words out. I was going to, you know, put the closure to it that I really wanted to. And my coworker said, boy, it sounds like a lot of excuses. And I was like, damn, you're right. It does sound like a lot of excuses. So I've been a little like self-conscious about when I'm making excuses and when I'm just being lazy. So I'm really, really, really trying to work on that. And it'd be great if, like, you know, the next time you say no to something or turn something down, if you really just take a minute and think, am I just being lazy or am I making excuses? Excuses because I'm afraid of something, or it's an unknown territory, or you're not sure if you'll fit in. So I had an experience after that with a different coworker. You know, the interesting thing about my job is I work with different people all the time. And I think God puts people in your life at a certain time to teach you lessons. And so this one person was sort of giving me a hard time because when I do go to the hotels, I just stay in my room, I order in, I keep to myself. And he's like, you know, that's cool if that's what you want to do and all that. He goes, but, you know, you never know. And my big thing is I don't like hanging out at bars. I hate sitting at the bar. I hate being in a bar. I'd rather go to a restaurant where I can sit and relax. And if people want to order drinks, that's fine. I don't care. I don't drink, But at the same time, I don't want to be stuck in a situation that I'm uncomfortable in. And sometimes people will leave the hotel and they'll go, you know, downtown or whatever, and then they'll have dinner and stuff. And that scares me too, because sometimes dinner turns into going to the bars, and then I don't want to do that. So I don't want to get myself in a situation where I have to walk home alone or find a ride home in a strange city. So I just try to avoid that altogether. And I've kind of realized that that's not a healthy thing to do, that I shouldn't worry about that so much. And if they do go from the restaurant to the bar, then, you know, either tell them up front, you know, I'm just down for having a meal in the restaurant, I'm coming back to the room, or, you know, just make sure you make your intentions known. And I think it's much better than me avoiding a situation entirely. So I'm going to really, really try to work on that, and try not to make excuses anymore. I mean, I do like sitting down and eating with the crew and stuff. I do. It's just I don't like being stuck in a bar. I don't like being stuck in a situation where I can't leave when I want to. And that's a whole nother story of why I hate bars. And I think that'll be my next video. We'll discuss a little bit more about why I think that is a bad experience that I had at one time. So that's another video at another time. But for right now, folks, check yourself. Are you being lazy? Are you making excuses? What are you trying to avoid? So I'm going to work on it, and hopefully you will too. Thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye.